Meditate.
I think there's like...
Welcome to Act 3 of making carrots. Here you can see as my mom breaks open the eggs to mash them into the batter for the carrot cake.
Do we mash eggs?
Well, you beat the eggs, so they're nice and beaten.
Like beaten until...
Yeah, light. So they're beaten until light. It's the final chapter of making carrot cake. You gotta get all of that batter in.
And we'll smooth it out a little bit, make sure it's evenly distributed.
Now you see her washing her hands.
Welcome back to Nicky's News. I think I did a little bit too much time meditating on my past. Now I need to meditate on my present. So I thought I would talk with someone who knows a little more about cooking than I did as a child, and maybe even more than I know about it now as an adult. And that would be Chef Jared Berrien. Jared, you can come in.
My name is Jared Berrien. I'm a chef and a poet, kind of a vagabond, I guess.
Well, I brought you on mostly because of the first thing you said. I recently came across some old footage of myself cooking with my mother a long time ago, and it sort of brought up a weird sense of nostalgia and emotion seeing this footage of me at like 6 years old making carrot cake. Do you have any sort of emotions that arise when you're cooking?
Yeah, there's like a weird sense of nostalgia and thinking back on meals that I've had. My mom and I would get like, maybe like once a week we would go to a Blockbuster Video and we would get a movie, and then we would usually pick up a pizza. And I remember watching the pizza guys, and they all had tattoos, and like, you know, they would be smoking cigarettes outside when we got there, and I thought like, those guys look cool. My mom was like an on and off again vegan vegetarian, so we often like made like tempeh or like homemade veggie burgers and stuff like that. So maybe that.
I kind of want to talk about those guys that you saw outside the pizza shop. There's a big stereotype of what a chef, or even maybe more like a stereotype of what a cook is like.
Yeah.
How true do you find that stereotype? And can you define what that stereotype is?
Probably since like the I want to say like the French Revolution was right around when there was a formal system for chefs, and they like started to organize the kitchens. But before that, it was like they were known, especially in Europe, as places where there were criminals and wandering vagrants, which I kind of think is cool. I relate more to that than a lot of the stereotypes about like chefs being like egomaniacal or intense. And a lot of hay has been made, especially like, you know, with like Anthony Bourdain, about like chefs being like rock stars or badass. I think that stuff is all lame. My mom worked in restaurants. She was a server, and I would always go back in the kitchen and ask for food, and like dudes were very loud. They were very vulgar. There was something about that I found appealing.
Now, why is that? Why would that be a space where that happens? Who is attracted to that job?
I think so for me, it reminds me of like heist movies. Like when you're in a service, when you're cooking and when you're prepping before service, the task like has to be accomplished, and you're not necessarily there with people that you like or even can communicate very well with, or that you're often around like very antisocial personalities, people that would not be able to function in like a normal workplace environment, but you still have to get it done. There's no room for pretense. The chefs that I've worked with that I really admire are the ones that can be like nice to you off the clock, but when you're there are kind of like brutal in their just verbally in how in their like expectations of the people that like work for them. You know,
You said there's a difference between working in the kitchen and working. You said normal job.
Yeah.
So do you consider what you do extraordinary or out of the ordinary?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's not something. It's an environment that most people would not put themselves in, and I hesitate to do the kind of stereotypical like Anthony Bourdain thing where it's like there's heat and it's brutal and it's like this blistering pace and but that is true. It really do be like that. It's an intense environment. You injure yourself a lot. I just fucking burnt myself.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Did that just happen?
A couple days ago. I wasn't very aware at the time, and I should have been. Like when I first started working in pizza shops, before I worked in like more elevated kitchens, what appealed to me was that the people there were oftentimes beleaguered, economically disenfranchised, are oftentimes like artists, musicians, drug dealers, whatever, or people who just didn't have any formal education, but were able to like excel and oftentimes like do very well in this environment just through force of personality and sheer like competence, which I think is very cool. Like I work in a kitchen right now where there are people that have formal educations and there are people who don't. And there's really not much of a difference in like how people are treated. It's fully just a place. It's a meritocracy where like competence is the most important thing.
Okay, that is definitely out of the ordinary for most jobs then. I kind of want to know the difference between running your kitchen, because you've worked as a head chef before where every cook there is answering to you.
Yeah.
How do you foster an environment that creates what you've been just describing?
Well, it's tough because I've been in leadership roles where I didn't do that. And I was like kind of maybe borderline verbally abusive, but that was when I was like younger and I kind of was trying to like figure things out, and I regret that quite a bit. Most recently though, I think it's you figure out what people like, why they're there, you know, like does this person just want to collect a paycheck or do they want to learn? And both things are like viable to create like a good cook, you know, like somebody that just shows up and wants to just do their job and just survive and is there to survive. That's as respectable to me as somebody that's like really hungry, because it is a job.
You're not clocking in, clocking out and not thinking about this part of your life.
It used to be when I was younger. I definitely like, because when I started cooking, I really didn't I didn't really care about it that much. It was a thing that I was able to do because I had dropped out of high school and I didn't have any like formal education, and it was the only sort of like job that was modestly well paying that you could do without any like educational background. And now that I'm like older and I've been in the industry more and I have more respect for people who are super knowledgeable, I almost wish I had gone to culinary school, but that's, you know, whatever. But yeah, now I think there's like a thing of you can only enjoy something if you're good at it. And when I was younger, I just would like, I didn't really care about pizza. I would clock out. I would usually get really hammered after work, and I would like not eat and smoke cigarettes and then wake up hungover and go to work and like just eat whatever was there. As I've like grown to appreciate and care more about cooking, it's like a thing that I look forward to doing on my day off. And I actually prefer cooking like at home more than the professional like environment.
Jared, I think you brought in some show and tell.
Yeah.
Is this true?
Yes, I did.
Let's take a look at some things you brought in.
These are my knives.
Do you bring these to work when you...
Yeah. This is for whacking up vegetables.
I love it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the story of this knife, where it came from?
I was working at this restaurant in Portland, Oregon, and at the time I didn't really... This was like one of my first like fine dining restaurants. I had come there. I had leveraged my like pizza experience, which is a totally different thing from like a nice restaurant. Like working in a pizza restaurant is like half the people there sell weed. So I just like had leveraged that to get into a nice restaurant, and they asked me to bring a knife on like my first day, and I was like, a knife? So I went to IKEA and bought like a cheap knife. And they were like, no, we meant like you should have like your own chef's knives. And at that time I was super young and I had no idea that chefs brought their own tools and stuff. So this was a knife that was just like given to me. I think somebody had left it. It was super rusty. And I like cleaned it and sharpened it and stuff. And it's just like a random Japanese knife that I've had since I was like 20.
Do you do that? Do you do the hair test to make sure it's sharp?
I wish I did that more. And then this is my Mac knife. This is my go-to general beater knife. It's cheap. I've had like 5 of these because they, I dropped them. Like this one's chipped on the tip. I don't know if you guys can see that.
It's very totemical. These things like exist as like idols that you have to care. And
yeah, absolutely. And they sort of represent your personhood.
Do you clock other chefs' knives in the kitchen?
Oh yeah, I mean everyone has better, cooler knives than I do. These are pasta tongs, spaghetti. They sort of become like in a kitchen like an appendage. You just grab everything. Like I almost never touch anything with my hands because it might be super hot. These are my protein tongs and they're purple. And I've been made fun of for these. People think it's corny.
They look like a butterfly. They're iridescent.
They're just like me. They're cool.
They're just like you.
Yeah, they're fucking cool as hell. I brought the Butchering, Processing, and Preservation of Meat. It's an older book, and it has these black and white photos. And this is sort of how I learned how to... This is where I got a lot of the information about like butchery, because growing up like vegetarian, I didn't know anything about breaking down fish or pork, and I was very intimidated by it. So this book, it's like... encyclopedic. This is an old chef's notebook. You generally you just have like a beater notebook where you keep your ideas and stuff. It says on the front, cooking and cleaning, squash soup, roast squash, 4 cups flesh, saute onions, add oregano, add squash, deglaze with cream sherry, add veg stock. These are my rules. You got to give respect to get respect. Walk, don't run in the kitchen. Don't talk about it, be about it. That's very important. Hold the door open for people.
You said something I really like. One of your rules, don't talk about it, be it.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the ethos of this show in a lot of ways. I'm doing a lot of talking about it, and I'm doing brief moments of being about it.
Hell yeah. Well, you should just always be about it.
Yeah, I should always be about it. So I'm wondering if you could help me reach that point.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to help me out?
Absolutely, dude.
I'd like to ask you to brainstorm ways I can be about it in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned how to fish. I've learned how to meditate. I wrote a song. I made a cure-all tea. I've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for more because it's never enough. So maybe there is a solution that you have that will imbue my life with such fulfillment and meaning every day that I wake up, I have no questions. I only have directions.
Yeah.
You think that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's set that up for you a little bit.
Cool.
Let's set your timer.
Timer? We use these a lot in kitchens.
Okay.
All right, Nicky, in your efforts to be a more authentic and mindful person, I think that you should deep clean your kitchen, and then you should buy some green label tape and use scissors to cut that label tape into equidistant little segments, and you should label and date every single thing in your kitchen and organize your fridge, and then go to the farmer's market and cook something for somebody that you cook a 3-course meal for somebody that you really love and respect, and talk to the purveyors at the market about the vegetables, and really hold them and touch them and sort of caress them and play with them and smell them and let them kind of tell you what they want to become.
Thanks for watching Nicky's News. Really appreciate it. And I'm in love with you.